Hey guys, it's Miss Alexander, and today we're kind of doing fractions day 2. We're going to learn how to accurately identify composite and prime numbers in a chart and find factors. Now, the one thing I do want to do is kind of review from yesterday, and yesterday we learned about fractions in our Nearpod. Remember, a fraction is used to describe one or more parts of a whole that is divided into equal parts. A numerator is a top number of a fraction that describes how many pieces of the whole you have. And then the denominator is a bottom number of the fraction that describes how many pieces make the whole. So before we jump into fractions, I need to know what you guys think. Would you rather have 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 8? And then you need to explain why you pick what you want. And then I'll let you know a little secret about this part. But now we're going to move on to prime and composite numbers. So to accurately define what a prime number and composite number is. So a prime number is defined as any number that only has 2 factors. It's 1 and itself. Note, remember 2 factors when multiplied make a product. So below is a list of prime numbers through 100. So everything that is highlighted in yellow are prime numbers. That means no other number can go into it except for itself and 1. Okay, which means a composite number is the opposite of prime number. It has more than 2 factors. This means that all the other numbers on the 100 chart that are not prime are composite. So every other number here has more than 1 factor to it. So let's go to our model problem. Right here it says list the composite numbers 20 or less below. So all we're going to do is come up right here and we're going to write 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 18, and 20. I figured it's something you guys could do. Objective 2. To accurately factor composite and prime numbers, you need to use your knowledge of multiplication facts. This is important. That's the reason I've included the multiplication chart table. Now, Mr. Ehring teaches this a little different than I do. And I look at something that you can use throughout. So when I was looking at the way he did it, I got a little confused. So I'm going to go with the knowledge I already have. And I'm going to teach it to you. My steps for factoring accurately. This is the way I do it, and I do it every time I look at a number. 1, always start with 1 times the number because 1 goes into every number. So I always start off with 1 and whatever the number is. Then the next step I do is if the last digit of the number is even, then you know that 2 is a factor. Once I see that 2 is a factor, I quick divide and find out what its partner is. Then 3, if the sum of the digits is divisible by 3, so that means I add up my digits. If I can divide it by 3, then I know 3 is a factor. And then I quick divide by 3 to find out what my other digit, its friend, is. Then for 4, if the last 2 digits of the number are divisible by 4, then 4 is a factor. Again, I look at just the last 2 numbers. And then if it is, I divide by 4 and find out what its partner is. If the number ends in 0, 5, then you know 5 is a factor. If a number passes a test for 2 and 3, then 6 is a factor. 7, there's a way out there to figure out divisibility, but I haven't quite figured that one out myself. 8, if the last 3 digits of the number are divisible by 8, then 8 is a factor. For 9, if the sum of the digits is divisible by 9, just like 3, then you know 9 is a factor. Again, I add up all the digits, and if it's divisible, then I figure out what its friend is. And then if the number ends in 0, then you know 10 is a factor. I didn't write that down. Is a factor. Okay, so now we're going to put our knowledge to the test using these steps. And I have a model problem that I've already done. So I'm looking at what are the factors of 24. So first, I look at 24, and the first thing I do is I put 1 and 24 because these are friends. These are our factoring friends because I do 1 times 24, and I get 24. I see that this 4 is even, so I know 2 can go into it. And when I do 2 into 24, 2 into 2 is 1, and 2 into 4 is 12. So I know 2 times 12 is 24. This is another partnership. Because if I add 2 plus 4, I get 6, I know 3 goes into 6. So now I figured out how many times do I multiply by 3 to get 24, and that is 8. And here's another factor partnership. And then because of this 4, I know 4 can go into 4. So now I figure out how many times 4 goes into 24, and it's 6. And here's another factoring buddies. Now, when you list your answers, you always list them in numerical order. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. Look at how I already have it set up the way I look at this. So now we're going to go to our next problem. What are the factors of 12? So the first thing we know, 1 and 12, because it's 1 times 12 equals 12. Now I look here, is 2 even? Correct. So I'd put 2. And then what is my buddy for 2? 2 times what gives me 12? You guys are right, 6. And now I go here. I do 1 plus 2 is 3. Does 3 go into 3? Correct. So I'll put 3 here. Now 3 times what number gives me 12? You guys are right, it's 4. And then because there is a number between the 4 and the 6 right here, I go ahead and look at 5. But knowing it's not 0 or 5, I know it's not a factor. So right down here, my answer, parentheses, I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. These are my factors for 12. Let's look at one more problem just in case we need a little more help. What are the factors of 15? So again, I start off with 1 and 15. Now I go and look, is the last number even? Nope. Then I know 2 is not involved. Now I add 1 plus 5. You're right, it's 6. Is 3 divisible by 6? Correct. So I'll do 3. And 3 times what gives me 15, you guys? You're right, 5. So I'm just going to quick look at 6. 6 has to pass 2 tests. The 2 test and the 3 test. We know it passed 3 tests, it passed the 2 test. Nope. So this is where we stop with the factors of 15. So again, I list them 1, 3, 5, 15. If you look, it makes a pattern. I hope this helped, and I'll talk to you later. Remember, while you're doing this, do smile, giggle, and wiggle. It's always fun to factor. Bye.